Hello, my name is Regina Johntony, and I'm going to present my introduction for EDHE 5885. Now I'm going to provide a brief introduction and my administrative experience. My name again is Regina Johntony. In my past work before I was at OU, I was an accountant in a CPA firm in Columbus, Ohio. I've worked at Ohio University for over 28 years. All my jobs have been as an accountant or using my accounting skills on project teams implementing large-scale accounting software. I started as an account manager and accounts receivable. Then next I went to the College of Medicine where I was assistant financial affairs administrator and managed budgets and expenses. Then for 12 years I was on the enterprise system project implementation team where I was a part of many accounting software implementations. Since 2015 I've been the director of finance. At the Voinovich School I have 5 accountants on my team and we report to the CFAO. For 10 years I've been an instructor in freshman learning community course. I took off the fall of 22 since my master's classes in addition to teaching was very time consuming. However, I love teaching more than any other job I've ever had. I love the interactions with my students. And last, I'm currently in my 5th and final semester of the Master of Higher Education program. I'm very grateful for the vast and variety of knowledge I've gained so far in this program. I have 2 contemporary issues in higher education that interest me. In the last 7 years, especially in my finance role at the Voinovich School, higher education spending and state appropriations to higher ed surfaces to the top. I'm interested in higher education affordability and financial aid areas and how to increase access for marginalized students, increase student head count, which hopefully in turn will increase the revenues. Low birth rates in the past 2 decades equal lower population of high school seniors enrolling in higher education, and of those high school seniors in the past several years there were fewer attending four-year institutions and opting out for trade schools or jobs, in part due to the economy. The recent status of the economy makes it even harder for low to middle income families to afford college, let alone basic needs. The second issue is a resulting issue from issue number 1, but it becomes the main issue as far as a personal impact to me and many OU employees, an extremely negative impact on faculty and students. The reduced state appropriation provided to higher education and lower enrollment means higher education must find ways to cut costs. 3 years ago, there were many jobs terminated at Ohio University and employees were fearful for their livelihood and health benefits. OU terminated academic support administrators, student service administrators, and faculty, which meant less support to students, faculty teaching more students, providing more support during office hours, grading more assignments, all threatening the quality of our product, which is an education. It also caused faculty burnout. A big plus for Ohio University is that we had our largest incoming freshman class ever, fall of 22. So I'm hoping for OU, if this trend continues, that OU leadership and deans can use the extra revenues to balance out services to students and add more faculty positions to reduce burnout, which would hopefully reduce the eventual loss of more faculty. The next question was, what do I think it means to be a scholar practitioner? Before I read the module articles, I assumed that a scholar practitioner is a professional that conducts, analyzes, and applies research to their work and inquires about research results in a specific area of their work to help implement change or solve a particular problem. After reading the articles, I learned more details. Swearam and Oyster 2012 reported that to be a scholar practitioner, student affairs professionals must have a desire to engage in research to benefit their work. They must assess, evaluate, and become competent in research. And the student affairs work cannot be performed well without engagement in research and reading and understanding research. Even if they do not conduct research studies, they'll still benefit from research engagement. And on the other hand, the students have the right to expect student affairs professionals to operate with the best knowledge and best practices. The professional competency areas for student affairs practitioners publication was endorsed by ASPA and NASPA. which documented 10 professional competencies surrounding assessment, evaluation, and research, other known as AER. The competencies help professionals increase their strengths and understand their weaknesses. Expertise in the field is detrimental to a student affairs credibility in the academic world. The results of studies conducted by Sreer Manoster showed that graduate students engage in research more than full-time professionals. Personally, I believe it's because student affairs professionals are so overworked. Student affairs leaders should instill a culture that mandates research competencies, which would include research engagement, but then they also need to carve out time for their staff to fulfill this requirement. And the leaders and supervisors should model their own AER competencies to build the idea that with their staff that this is valued and expected. When EDHE 2019 findings, quote, might suggest that graduate preparation programs are introducing students to the concepts associated with research, but may not provide a space for hands-on application, end quote. As a result of the study, the research team members were able to connect theory, research, and student affairs practice. So graduate programs should include actual research within the program for students to make this connection. CASTA graduate programs should incorporate research experiences to build the relationship between scholar and practitioner, and in turn display how theory impacts practice. The research experience provided forward thinking on how research findings can be applied to new student-centered programs. How do I engage in scholarly practice? Really, my only scholarly practice is very limited to my graduate coursework. Dr. Zhao and EDHE 5010 Intro to Research Methods, we conducted both a qualitative and quantitative research project. In Dr. Yang's EDHE 7790 finance class, our final project was to conduct a literature examination on topic of our choice, and then once we concluded with their findings and recommendations, the paper had to be submitted to the Association for the Study of Higher Education annual conference. And then many of my other courses involve literature reviews, but of course that's just reporting and analyzing existing research. In my role as Director of Finance, I often receive assignments to produce statistics or financial report. I gather data, usually from several sources, manipulate the data, add the qualitative information, and present my report. What I learned from that is that I gain critical analysis skills, time management skills, effective communication, group and team collaboration, and conflict resolution skills working with the team. But of course, that's not research. Before I talk about my ideas for the final project, I wanted to talk about the office consultation project. Warinsky and Jessup Anger designed the office consultation project, which was a capstone project, to provide graduate students with hands-on research while partnering with academic and student affairs professionals. It opens up a professional network between students acting as a consultant and the professional while solving a real issue or recommending a new process. The project also provides a better understanding and experience to connect theory to practice. And it develops critical thinking skills, leadership, and effective communication. And it enhances and contributes to a mandated AER competency. The project will teach and or enhance skills including project and group management, time management, division of labor, group norm development, and conflict mediation. Plus, students realize they have the knowledge based on their own research surrounding student needs, and as future student affairs professionals, they can continue this process and make informed decisions based on research and best practice. Clients also benefit from this project. They gain new insights about their department. They have this whole team working on the defined issue, bringing new perspectives to the table, and they develop new networks. The graduate program also benefits the departments cultivate new relationships, and other departments learn more about student affairs preparation and can better relate to how they support students. The OCP project also enhances quality and the marketability of the graduates. The OCP project described in our reading looks very similar to our class final project scope and deliverables. For my final project, I'm currently thinking about the Scholars Program for limited income and or financially independent students. I was a low-income first-generation student, and from the start, financially independent. I'm passionate to support these students in their academic, personal, and social development. I'd like to potentially explore these ideas. First, since the Scholars Program will support 5 to 10 students, I'd like to know how many current freshman students fall into these categories. And one of the goals is to suggest ways to recruit, but once recruiting takes place, I'm assuming there's going to be a large amount of applicants, so we're going to need to explore qualifications to determine which students are most likely to stay in the program for the academic year. The application requirements should narrow down the field, but there still might be a large number of students to choose from, so maybe we have a second round of requests sent to a limited number of applicants to ask to provide an essay explaining why we should choose them. The big activities for the student engagement could be incentivized. I'd like to identify win-win for the student in the program, since the great results might spur more support for a larger group the next year. And after watching the Student Affairs, the Student Affairs Now, the Curricular Approach, I downloaded the book, The Curricular Approach to Student Affairs, A Revolutionary Shift for Learning Beyond the Classroom. Only read through chapter 1, but I'd like to further explore how the information in this book can help me think out of the box and provide scholar program suggestions that will facilitate learning beyond the classroom. Thank you for watching my introduction presentation.